Hello and welcome to Zirkzank Says. I'm Zirkzank, and not much time has passed since the previous episode. I didn't even finish the cup of coffee that I said I was going to finish. All I did was close the blinds and take my jacket off. Which reminds me, I need to get some new jackets because all the hoodies and jackets that I've had for like over 5 years. So the cuffs are a little bit worn away. They still fit and they're not broken or anything. I just want some new style. You know, I'm pretty good at style, as you can tell. I got this fucking V-neck, so you know that I'm an asshole. Wear a hat indoors, so you know that I'm an asshole. I'm wearing shorts so that you know that I'm cool. All of this kind of shit goes without saying. But the main point of what I was trying to say is that it's nice to have new clothes that are comfortable and represent your coolness. Because the clothes that I've got now, like that grey one, I think is something that I bought when I was shopping with my dad once, and he's like, "Hey, look, I'm gonna get one of these. Do you want one too?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." You know, it's just a free jacket to wear when I'm cold. I wasn't like, "Oh no, I don't like the way it looks." Just get it because why not? You know, more clothes. Just have a jacket to wear when you're cold. And the hoodies that I've got, which were a gift from my friend's parents, or from my friend's mum, because they didn't fit him, so they gave them to me because I was smaller than him at the time. Now I'm kind of, he's still taller than me, but I think that I've grown to have like the same enough size as him, so then it's like, well, he doesn't want the clothes because they've already been given to me. Plus, he didn't like them anyway because he also has a very high standards for fashion, for style. Sorry, I keep saying fashion when fashion really is like an ever-changing scam, and style is the eternal kind of, yeah, it's always gonna look good, or this will look good on the right person. You know, stylish. He's a model though, so when he cares about style and stuff, it's kind of like probably real pretentious, you know, like that's so not the current season. No, he's not like that. It's weird. It's weird to know somebody who is that into arty stuff, but is also intelligent. It's like he's either gaming the system, knowing that he can just do all this art stuff and have an easy life, fun life while he's young, and then go on to doing something like creative and be moderately successful in a financial sense afterwards, and then just use his intelligence when he has to. But at the moment I don't think he is, because he's doing art, and art doesn't require intelligence. If you're doing art, don't kid yourself, it is a very low effort, low skill kind of thing. Not low skill, sorry, there's a lot of skill involved, but I mean doing it well requires skill. Doing it to a level where it's your like academic kind of field, you can literally just splatter some paint onto a canvas from a brush and say, "Hey, look, what I made is art." Write a little document to say that it's art, and then there you go, that's it. You get an art degree. You're a qualified artist. And I'm not referring to people who practice and have worked hard and people who are like actually good at art. I'm talking about people who are bad at art but still consider themselves to be artists. If you're good, you can call yourself good, but you never should, because you can always get better. And if you're bad and you call yourself good, you should kill yourself. No, don't kill yourself. That's a little bit extreme. You know, just kind of like slit your throat and get someone else to shoot you in the head. Actually, no, because that's encouraging murder. Don't do anything, but just reevaluate your life. How valuable is your time being spent on something that you're not good at and you never will be good at because you don't want to get better at it? If you wanted to get better, you wouldn't be in the situation where you suck at it, because you'd be trying every single day to get better, but you're not, just doing the bare minimum. You don't actually care about art, you just think you do, you're being pretentious. That's my message to art students. Come back to me with some criticisms in the comment section down below, or to the left, or to the right, if you're above. I don't know what you're watching this on. I don't know if you're watching this. You've already closed it because I insulted you, and you have very, very fragile feelings If you're studying art, you have very fragile feelings. You need a safe space. You can't even comprehend the kind of things that I'm talking about. You've already disliked the video and reported it as abuse. But hear me out. Comment it, and I'll refute you. If you want to engage in a debate, we can. You won't. You already agreed I'm wrong and I need to die. So there's not going to be anything productive coming out of this. But yeah, speaking of nothing productive, I want to talk about my cinema experience. I always do reviews on films that I've seen a long time ago. This time I'm going to do one I saw like 2 days ago, which is Logan. That is the Wolverine film where it's got Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart, the X-Men, Wolverine, Logan, and Charles Xavier, the guy in the wheelchair. The non-spoiler version of my review is, it's a good movie. I would not have paid to see it if I knew how it was going to turn out, because it was a very emotional film, and I wasn't in the mood to watch an emotional film at the time. So I wouldn't have paid for that negative experience. It was a real bummer. Here's the spoiler version. Now this is spoilers if you want to close the video now, because I'm going to sort of start spoiling the film. Okay, so basically, explain the film if you've not watched it. It's about Logan, because the title of the film is Logan. He's an X-Man with claws that come out of his hands, and he has lived for several hundred years because his mutation allows his cells to keep regenerating at a very high rate. So basically, he ages very, very slowly, and he doesn't actually die. When stuff kills him, it doesn't actually kill him because his cells just have like some kind of memory that replicates them. He also has the ability to have retractable claws made of bone from his arm, I guess, his hand at the top of his arm. If you know fucking Wolverine, I don't need to explain Wolverine. His bones have been replaced with adamantium though, which is some fictional, I believe it's fictional, I don't know, current year might not be fictional anymore. Adamantium bone structure, including his bones that come out of his hands. However, after having that in for a very long time, that start poisoning him, I believe. I can't tell if he's dying because of old age in the film or because he's dying because of the poison inside of him, which is his adamantium skeleton. Either way, he couldn't remove his adamantium skeleton, I think, because first of all, it's very hard to even do anything with, because it's fucking solid. Plus, he doesn't have the healing capability anymore that if it was ripped out of him, he would be able to heal it back. Plus, it's very painful. Plus, he wanted to die as well. So, the film, he dies in the film. Well, let me just say that straight away. He dies in the film, or at least he's buried in the film, and the film ends. Doesn't mean he's dead, but it means the film wants you to think that he's dead, so you still feel the same way. Charles Xavier is the guy with the telekinesis, the guy he does with your mind, in the wheelchair, the smart guy, the really nice guy. He's mentally deranged in it. It's depressing to see. He's senile. He's being taking pills to stop him from having psychotic episodes. It's just a fucking mess. Wolverine can't regenerate, so he's fucking degenerating. They're all degenerating and dying. It's just pitiful, miserable. They're in Mexico. Mexico. I know. They're in these really shitty environments. They're decaying. And he's in a rusty house and all of this kind of thing. It's just not a pleasant viewing visually. It's all very kind of And I'm not talking about the blood and the gore. I'm talking about the atmosphere of the film is all pretty it's either urban, which is gross, or it's decrepit kind of old, which is also gross. I mean, it can be cool, but the way that they're portraying it was as if it's to be like, like very drained and empty. It's what they are. They're some of the last surviving natural-born mutants, and the significance of that is they're natural-born. Mutants have stopped being born in this Logan film because some doctor scientist guy has been putting in a cure for random mutations into the water and food supply, so that basically no longer can any new mutants be born, and I guess the older ones are just dying because they got old or were wiped out by, the people who kill mutants. I've watched all the films, but I don't know or care what they're called. So it's really sad from that perspective, just that everything's going to shit, and nothing's going well, and there's no happy ending. Then to throw on top of all of that, you have the genetically created artificial mutants, which are lab-born mutants grown from the DNA of existing mutants, trained in captivity to be fighters, but then they betray the people who trained them and escape. One of these is Wolverine's daughter, his biological daughter, using Logan's DNA, mixed with some Mexican woman who gave birth to her, died in birth, I guess. I mean, that's presumable because they show you a birthing bed, where the area where the woman's sort of womb exploded, and there's blood everywhere. So you presume that she's dead. They don't care about her anyway, because this is some underground illegal thing where they're growing illegal mutants. So yeah, this is X-2323, the mutant known as Laura, who's a female version of Wolverine, but she's a kid in the film. So she gets attached to Logan. Now this is also what makes it sad. Logan has to fight himself. He has to try and fight to protect his daughter, who isn't even his daughter, he didn't know is his daughter, who's been through a traumatic experience. Gets even worse because she gets attached to him, then he dies. It's all just a fucking, it's just a mess of depressing, sad things happening. It's a very emotional film, and it's upsetting to watch, to see people grow close and then have one of them be taken away, especially in the short span of that amount of time. When you're dealing with those serious subject matters, you can always say it's just a film, but when you watch a film, you're not watching it to say it's just a film, because you already know that. You're watching it to get invested because you want to care about the characters. It's what makes the film better when you care about the characters. It makes you experience the film more. But this is the kind of film where if you get invested in the characters, you'll suffer for it. Because you'll feel, if you actively go out of your way to feel the pain of these characters, you'll feel very upset. So I did that with this film because that's how I feel about these films. It's best to enjoy it by getting invested. If you do that with this, though, like I said, you will not have fun, and I do not think it was worth paying money to go and see a film that would do that. I could have looked into it, but you don't look into a film because that ruins the experience. You don't read reviews other than it was okay, and you look at this person's taste in films, and then you think, right, so they thought this was good, this was good, this was good, and this was bad. So you kind of can get a sort of general sense of if the reviewer is in the right track. You can never really fully trust a review. You can never really trust someone's taste. You can't even trust your own taste. You might like a bunch of films that are like this film, but then hate it still. That's the case with every film. So yeah, the point was, I didn't look at reviews because I don't like reviews. I didn't look at the plot of the film because why the fuck would you do that? You spoil it for yourself. That's what I've just done here. I spoiled it for you, but if you watched it to this point, you weren't going to watch it anyway, or you've already seen the film, so you want to hear my take on it. My take was that it was a well put together film, obviously. It's a high-budget X-Men film. The emotions that were portrayed by the actors, it's Patrick Stewart, it's Hugh Jackman, and it's got Steve Merchant, and it's got a bunch of other actors. The kid, all of them were good actors, so that's obvious. The world, the special effects, the sound. Some of the music was really shit, actually. Like, I noticed it, and I didn't notice it in a good way. Like when you're watching a film with a good soundtrack and you're like, this is really good music. I noticed it and I'm like, this is really bad music. Music was kind of shit. So, like, from a production standpoint, it was very good. From, like, an experiential standpoint, don't watch it unless you want to get kind of, I would say it's a depressing film. It's the point of it, but who enjoys being depressed? I would say nobody. Like, you don't enjoy being depressed, so why bother with the film? I've seen it once to find out what happens. I might watch it again at some point if I do an X-Men like marathon, but I'll try and avoid it because I don't want to go through that emotional torture again. It's just upsetting, especially when you empathize on that level with the characters. I have a lot of empathy, at least. I'm not always 100% sure when people are being subtle with what they're after in life until after the fact. It takes me like 24 hours to kind of process what somebody was trying to imply or say, or if they're being too subtle, and I think about it afterwards like, oh, they were being subtle. But empathy-wise, that's like an immediate thing. If someone's feeling a sympathy, I think it's sympathy and empathy, whatever. I feel bad if someone feels bad, and if someone feels good, I feel good. This film just makes you feel bad because the characters are all going through shitty experiences. It's not great. Oh yeah, and the part where Wolverine has to fight himself, that's another thing. It's like a nice, that meme, nice try, or no, trust no one, not even yourself. The guy with the gun with picture of himself with the gun behind his head. That's what happens in this. So Logan is fighting against himself in this. Very much, like, there's a clone of him that he has to fight multiple times. But it's also, there's the internal battle and there's the external battle. I like that. They weren't subtle with it. They just wanted to be like, they might have as well have had him looking at himself in a mirror. In fact, they do. In several scenes, he's looking at himself in a mirror. It's like, he's fighting himself in many ways. It's a shit film, though. It's a good film, but it's shit. Thanks for watching.